If you've been to any number of funerals, you will have heard Psalm 23. It's very popular at funerals. My name is Gray, and I'm going through the book of Psalms. Today, we're looking at the very popular Psalm 23, a psalm written by David, of course. And this one is different to all the others because I think David sat down and says, "Who is God to me? And what's my relationship with him?" And he looked at the sheep and says, "Yeah, that's what it is." That's me thinking. Recently, not at church, at work, we were challenged to write down a poem about God and us and the relationship and how we weren't. Some creative writing about God. And I was like, I can't do this. But when I took pen and paper and I wrote down, I thought it was quite nice and people complimented it because I shared it widely. I'll share it on my Facebook. If you're following me, you will see it. Back to the chapter 23. A lot of people love leaning into verses 4 to verses 6, which is beautiful. You know, it starts, even though I walk through the valley of shadow of death, I will fear no evil. I just want to say this. You can quote that as much as you like, but verse 1 has to be true first for all of this to take effect. What do I mean? You need to be like the sheep that is so totally dependent on the shepherd. The Lord is my shepherd. You have to say the Lord is my shepherd, not just for the sake of saying it, but you have to live it. Where everything you do, everything you need will not come anywhere else apart from God. And that's how a sheep is. A sheep is an animal that has no head. There's no alpha male or whatever it is to lead them. It always will always depend on the shepherd. And that's what our attitude is. If we are dependent on God on everything, then we can say that truly that I don't lack any good thing. I think there's a verse that we went back. I can't remember, it was Psalm 15, where he says, I have nothing. David says, I have nothing good apart from you. I love that. And this is it. So for our attitude, we just need to totally surrender to God. And then when we totally surrender to God, and all of these things will become true for us. Verses 2 and 3 talks about him guiding us and feeding us. My favorite of this chapter is verse 3. He restores my soul. Without God restoring my soul, every now and then I would be totally lost. I will be so out of it. He has a way, he just knows how to restore my soul. And what I'm trying to say is, if you are someone who's done something really bad, so bad in your eyes, and you feel like God can't take you back, I want you to look at the story of the prodigal son. God has always got his arms open, always. And is just waiting for you to come in. And when he comes in, he just not only welcomes you, but he also restores your soul. And he says, it leads me in the path of righteousness for his name's sake. The path that I am taking, it is God who is leading me through. Because I have put my trust in him, I know he will need it. There are times that I will doubt, but I know he says, for his name's sake. That means he will do it so that in what I am doing, his name will be honored. Because it is his name that is on the line. So he definitely will do it. He's not going to let me go. He's not going to let me go on my own. And that's the encouragement that I'm bringing to you as well. Verse 5 says, you prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. That sounds amazing. I love that. But here's the thing, brothers and sisters. For God to prepare a table for us, we ought to be ready to be seated at that table. We have to be seated at the right table. What do I mean? I mean that we need to give up our lifestyle that feeds us and doing what we want, our self-love, that sort of things. We need to die to ourselves, take up the cross and follow Jesus. Because when we do that, then we're sitting at the table. You know, there's the story of the banquet, that the banquet is always open. He's always inviting people in. So he's always preparing a table for people, for you and me. But the question is, are we seated at that table? And that's where we need to be. Yeah, surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of your life. And I pray that it will be so. But it just doesn't stop there, but that you will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. When I mean forever, it's just not for tomorrow, but for now. Dwelling in the house of the Lord, being in God's presence continuously, whether in worship, whether in praise, whether in prayer, or whether in attitude. That's who we ought to be. And that's Psalm 21. I pray that this becomes true for you when you start to see God as your shepherd. God bless you.